Hey y'all, it's Coach in the Fight here. Looking in Leviticus chapter 16. Now, I was listening to scripture last night, um, all through the night, like we usually do, and we kind of just let it play. And this kind of jumped out at me. Um, this is some stuff out of this chapter, and this seems to be the Atonement chapter. This whole chapter of Leviticus 16 is dedicated to atonement. Now, we know we have Atonement Day coming up. So I thought it was appropriate to bring this out. What it talks about some of the stuff of what's actually going on behind the scenes, and some stuff that was going on in the foreground back there in the past. And the purpose of this class is, kind of try to get an understanding of what's going on now. We understand the what they went through was a living parable back there. All of these many thousands of years ago. Um, what we're going through now. Is similar to what they went through, except it's real time now. It's real, and it's a lot of spirituality involved, a lot of other stuff involved. It ain't just slaughtering of animals. The a lot of this stuff is happening behind the scenes. So if we can make a correlation between what's going on behind the scenes, then maybe we can get an idea of what we're looking at. You know, what we can actually see may make a little more sense. So I don't know how I'm gonna do this, whether I'm gonna cover the whole chapter or what. So we just ask the Spirit to lead us, um, giving Him all praise and honor, and see what comes out of it. Right. So let's start right here, verse 16. It says, "And the Lord spake unto Moses after the death of the two sons of Aaron, when they offered before the Lord and died." Now, you guys may not remember this story of Nadab and Abihu, I think is what their names. It seems like they went into the tabernacle and got drunk. They were priests. They were, basically the second in line behind Aaron. Aaron had four sons. These were the two oldest ones, and they had a lot of responsibilities. Well, they got drunk. It seems like they got drunk and went into the tabernacle and did some stuff they wasn't supposed to, and they got killed. But anyway, let's go on. And the Lord said unto Moses, Speak unto Aaron thy brother, that he come not at all times into the holy place within the veil before the mercy seat. Now, this is telling Aaron, don't be coming in here. Now, remember, Moses came in all the time. Moses talked. This is where Moses got his instruction, was within the veil before the mercy seat. That's where the instructions came from, was above the mercy seat. But Aaron was only supposed to go in, once a year, which is upon the ark, that he die not, for I will appear in the cloud upon the mercy seat. So he's telling Aaron to be careful. Don't be messing around like your boys did. Thus Aaron came into the holy place with a young bullock for a sin offering and for a burnt offering. Now, this is why I hesitate to do, this class, is because back then they were burning animals, but we understand that the Messiah is our burnt offering and our sin offering. Okay, so what does that mean now? What does that mean, that we do anything? Is everything happening behind the scenes? I don't really know. But let's go on. He shall put on the holy linen coat, and he shall have the linen breeches upon his flesh, and he shall be girded with a linen girdle, and with the linen mitre shall he be attired. These are the holy garments, therefore shall he wash his flesh in water, and so put them on. So we're talking about Atonement Day. It's a big deal. So he has all of these garments that these people have created for him. These are some I couldn't imagine how much this actual garment, this whole attire would cost if they was to try to put it on somebody today. But it was a big to do, and he wore this thing once a year when he went in for Atonement Day. All right, let's go on. And he shall take the congregation of the children of Israel, two kids. He shall take of the congregation of the children of Israel 2 kids of the goats for a sin offering, and a ram for a burnt offering. Okay? And Aaron shall offer a bullock of a sin offering, which is for himself, and make atonement for himself and for his house. Now, this is what we're talking about as far as these offerings and stuff. So you have Aaron out here. You have a animal that has recently been dispatched. There is blood. And Aaron has some of this blood, and he is actually putting it around. He's putting it on himself. He's putting it on other people. Um, you know, and you say, well, here it is, 2018. Are we supposed to be seeing people splashing blood around and doing this? No. So what's going on here? Well, that's why we're doing this, to try to get some understanding. And you guys are good at leaving comments, so leave some comments on what you think. It really does help. It helps me, and it helps you, and it helps everybody who reads your comments. Trigger some thought there, and that's really what we need is some thought, some spirit to communication. Leave your comments so we can all get some understanding on what he tells you. But let's go on. And he shall take 2 goats and present them before the Lord at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. So he has 2 goats. Now we understand the difference between the goat nations and the sheep nations, do we? Do we understand the sheep nations and the goat nations? We know that they're similar, but they're kind of different. It's a different race of people, or a different kind of people, I should say, that he's talking about here. The difference between the sheep nations and the goat nations. But let's go on. And Aaron shall cast lots upon the 2 goats, one lot for the Lord, and the other lot for the scapegoat. Now, we use that term, it came like a word people use, scapegoat. Oh, he's the scapegoat, he's the scapegoat. At my last job, I used to tell them, y'all can make me the scapegoat if you want to, but you got to remember that it's the scapegoat who actually lived. The other one got slaughtered, watch. And Aaron shall bring the goat upon which the Lord's lot fell, and offer him for a sin offering. But the goat on which the lot fell to be the scapegoat shall be presented alive before the Lord to make an atonement for him, and to let him go for a scapegoat into the wilderness. Okay, now this seems to be very important right here. Now it says, but the goat on which the lot fell to be the scapegoat shall be presented alive before the Lord to make an atonement. Okay, so why is the scapegoat making an atonement for him? Now, who is it making an atonement? Who is him? And let him go for a scapegoat into the wilderness. And Aaron shall bring the goat upon which the Lord's lot fell. And Aaron shall bring the goat upon which the Lord's lot fell and offer him for a sin offering. So that's the first goat. It done been killed. But the goat on which the lot fell to be the scapegoat shall be presented alive before the Lord to make atonement for him. Now, who is him? I don't understand. Who is it making atonement for? And why is it the scapegoat that's making an atonement? But, let's go on. And it's not even 6 o'clock in the morning, guys. I haven't given this stuff much thought, but, let's go on. And to let him go for a scapegoat into the wilderness. And Aaron shall bring the bullock of a sin offering, which is for himself, and shall make atonement for himself and for his house, and shall kill the bullock of the sin offering, which is for himself. Nice class may not make it at this point, because I am thoroughly confused. But let's go on. And he shall take a censer full of burning coals of fire from off the altar before the Lord, and his hands full of sweet incense beaten small, and bring it within the veil. Now, okay, this right here, when I hear this, a few minutes ago, I've read this several times, but like people say, you can read the Bible every day and get something new out of it, and it's true. Even today, I got something new out of this part right here. Let me see if I can go find it. Now, what it is Revelation chapter 8, which seems to be talking about the same thing. Now, when you study in Revelation chapter 8, it already seems like it's talking about Aaron. I got that written down in my Bible from a long time ago, where I'm like, hey, this guy playing around with his altar and his censers and all this fire and stuff seems like the same dude that was back in the Old Testament. But instead of reading, I'm going to go ahead and play it for you. And I'm going to let you hear about 5 verses. And I want you to hear what he's talking about, this censer and all of this fire and stuff.
Chapter 8. And when he had opened the 7th seal, there was silence in heaven about the space of half an hour. And I saw the 7 angels which stood before God, and to them were given 7 trumpets. And another angel came and stood at the altar, having a golden censer, and there was given unto him much incense, that he should offer it with the prayers of all saints upon the golden altar which was before the throne. And the smoke of the incense which came with the prayers of the saints ascended up before God out of the angel's hand. And the angel took the censer and filled it with fire of the altar, and cast it into the earth. And there were voices and thunderings and lightnings and an earthquake. And the 7 angels which had the 7 trumpets prepared themselves to sound. The first angel sounded, and there followed hail and fire mingled with blood, and they were cast upon the earth.
Yep, guys, see what I mean? Yeah. So it seems like it may not be to you. You may not studied on this a lot, and you can. You got chapter 16 in Leviticus. You got chapter 8 in there, and you may have to put some more verses together to understand that that's Aaron who he's talking about in Revelation chapter 8. But it ain't clear to understand when these daggone incense start floating around his altar. Something about to happen. Look over here. Look. And the angel took the censer and filled it with the fire of the altar and cast it into the earth. And there were voices and thunders and lightnings and an earthquake. And the 7 angels which had the 7 trumpets prepared themselves to sound. So now we're waiting for this. Where all of this stuff is in our timeline. This is kind of where we're at in the Revelations timeline thing, here. And so Atonement Day is coming up, and they're doing this altar and this censer thing. Yeah, let's go. And he shall take, we're back here in Leviticus chapter 16 now. We're back in Leviticus. And he shall take a censer full of burning coals of the fire off the altar before the Lord, and his hands full of sweet incense beat small, and bring it within the veil. Right? So it seems like he used to be doing it one way. Now, he's just throwing it out there. And he shall put the incense upon the fire before the Lord, that the cloud of the incense may cover the mercy seat that is upon the testimony, that he die not. All right. Now remember, at this point, Aaron has a rope around his leg in case he does make an error, and they're ready to drag him out of this place. They're ready to pull him out. Nobody's going in to get him. Not even Moses. They're just going to drag him out. And he shall take of the blood of the bullock and sprinkle it with his fingers upon the mercy seat eastward. And before the mercy seat shall he sprinkle the blood with his fingers 7 times. See, we're talking about this blood here. And, but no, you can't really imagine nobody really doing this nowadays. Maybe they are, but I don't know. Let's go on. Then shall he kill the goat of the sin offering, that is for the people, and bring the blood within the veil, and do with the blood as he did with the blood of the bullock, and sprinkle it upon the mercy seat, and before the mercy seat. Okay, now understanding a little bit here, while we have a bullock, which is a bull, young bull, I believe, and which is a bovine or a cow, as we would call it, and then you have a goat over there. Now, if you understand Enoch, his parable of all of mankind, where he used animals to describe us all, you understand that all of mankind started off as bulls or cows. The first was created was bulls. Adam was a bull. Um, Cain was a black bull, and Abel was a white bull, and Seth was a red bull. I mean, it was some, and then after Noah, Noah was I think Noah was the last bull, and then you get into other people groups. You have sheeps, you have goats, you have jackals, you have hyenas, you have elephants, you have all kinds of people groups. So you have to understand that parable. But to sum it all up, and what he's talking about here, you have the sin offering for the goat nations, which would be the he's not talking about sheep here, so I'm guessing that he's talking about the Hebrews or the Israel or his chosen people, his people, the goat people. Whereas and that's what the sacrifice or the sin offering was for, and that's what that blood is being sprinkled for. That's why their blood is being sprinkled for the people. Whereas Aaron, he had the blood of the bullock to make atonement for him. Well, that's the representation of all mankind. So you can see a difference going on here, and maybe this can help us to understand. It is me, you know, helping me to understand. I might be confusing everybody else, but you have Aaron going in to represent all of mankind, but then you have now this sin offering going in, for the people. But let's go on. and he shall make atonement for the holy place. Now watch this. All of this is going on Atonement Day. You know, what's going on behind the scenes in Atonement Day? Because we have to understand that Aaron is not doing this now. There's nobody that we don't have a high priest that's doing any of this. You know, you can imagine some people out there trying to do it, or kind of putting on shows, or maybe having misinterpretations of the Bible and are out there still doing this stuff. But no, we have a high priest, and that is the Messiah. Jesus, that is the Yehoshua HaMashiach, is behind the scenes, and he is doing this stuff in place of Aaron now. He is our high priest. So what is he doing? He's making an atonement for the holy place. So that's like this. That's some spiritual place, right? The holy place. I hope your mind didn't go to church or go to the Vatican where the holy place is. The holy place is in the spirit world, or it's it's somewhere in the supernatural. It's not really somewhere. It's not a tangible place that we can go and see and touch. You ain't gonna buy no tickets to the holy place. Because it says, and he shall make an atonement for the holy place because of the uncleanliness of the children of Israel. See, the children of Israel, they're supposed to be keeping the commandments, the laws, the statutes, the precepts, the judgments, and because they're not, they are unclean. You've heard people talk about, I went around those Jewish people and they said that I was unclean. Well, you are. You don't even know what cleanliness is. You don't know how you don't even know how to approach cleanliness yet without the instructions of the Father. So pure statistics says you probably unclean. Yeah, you probably did something to defile yourself. Yeah, you probably did. It's almost 6 o'clock in the morning, and I wouldn't dare say that I'm haven't transgressed a law already this morning. But let's go. And because of their transgressions in all of their sins, and so shall he do for the tabernacle of the congregation. So now he's got the holy place, and now he's about to cleanse the tabernacle of the congregation. The tabernacle. So where is the tabernacle of the congregation? It's one of them spiritual places too, that remaineth among them in the midst of their uncleanliness. Okay, and there shall be no man in the tabernacle of the congregation when he goeth in to make atonement in the holy place. Okay, until he come out and have made an atonement for himself, for his household, and for all the congregation of Israel. Okay, so we're talking about Aaron, and we're talking about the Messiah there. So they go in and they make an atonement, but they have to be in there by themselves. Right? They have to be in there by themselves. So when the Messiah goes in to make atonement for us, he's going to be in there by himself, making the cleanse for himself, and let's see what happens in verse 18. And he shall go out unto the altar. Now remember, the altar was outside; it was away from the mercy seat a little bit. I forget. Without flipping over there and looking at a picture of it, I want to say that it's outside of the veil. This is the altar of incense. This is where they burned the incense. This is one of the last thing they did before they went into the mercy seat, was they burned incense. And he shall go out unto the altar that is before the Lord and make an atonement for it, and shall take the blood of the bullock and the blood of the goat, and put it upon the horns of the altar round about. Now this altar has horns, so this may not be the altar of incense. This may be the altar that they sacrificial altar. This one may be the sacrificial altar with the horns on it. But some more study is necessary. Let's go on. And he shall sprinkle the blood upon it with his finger 7 times, and cleanse it, and hallow it from the uncleanness of the children of Israel. So this is what's going on here. When on Atonement Day, we're supposed to rest, we're supposed to fast, we're supposed to do other things, but we understand that some things are going on that in the spirit world that we don't really see or recognize. But here it is. This is what's going on. You're going to have, the sprinkling of the blood, 7 times to cleanse the altar. The altar is about to be cleansed. It's not going to be cleansed with Aaron and goats. It's going to be cleansed with the Messiah. So, and that's what we're trying to, hopefully you're getting at it is. And when he had made an end of reconciling the holy place, and the tabernacle of the congregation, and the altar, he shall bring the live goat. Okay, so this goat was slaughtered. Goat was slaughtered. And then all of its blood was sprinkled all over the place. So it seemed like the slaughtered goat was doing the atonement. I mean, said earlier, like it seemed like the live goat was going to do the atonement. But let's see what happens. And Aaron shall lay both his hands upon the head of the live goat, and confess over him all the iniquities of the children of Israel. Okay, so a confession is being made over this thing, and I could imagine he's saying, Lord, they didn't keep any of the commandments. They didn't do it. I used to wonder, well, how is he going to confess the sins of all of Israel? How does he know all of Israel? But now all of them, they just breaking all of them. That is real easy. They breaking all of them, Lord. All of the people are breaking all of the commandments. They're real easy. And all of their transgressions and all of their sins, putting them on the head of the goat. So now he's putting these on the head of the scapegoat, and shall send him away by the hand of a fit man into the wilderness. They carried him so far, and then they let him go, and then Azazel or somebody came and got this goat. I think this is the goat that goes to Azazel, if you know the story of the fallen angels. But anyway, and the goat shall bear upon him all the iniquities of the land not inhabited, unto the land not inhabited, and he shall let go the goat into the wilderness. And he shall bear upon him all of their iniquities unto a land not inhabited, and he shall let go the goat in the wilderness. Okay, so this goat is going to be released on Atonement Day. You say, well, why is all this so important? Because all of this happens on Atonement Day. We're within 3 days of Atonement Day 2018, so a lot of people are interested in this. So let's go on. And Aaron shall come into the tabernacle of the congregation. Now, we remember back then, this was Aaron. Now we're talking about the Messiah. So you can replace it right here and say, and the Messiah shall come into the tabernacle of the congregation, and shall put off all the linen garments which he had put on when he went into the holy place, and shall leave them there. And he shall wash his flesh with water in the holy place, and put on all his garments, put on his own garments, and come forth, and offer his burnt offering and a burnt offering of the people, and make atonement for himself and for the people. See, somehow he needs another atonement. He atoned himself at first, but then he started messing around with this scapegoat. And now he has to do another atonement. He has to do another burnt offering, for himself, something like that. And the fat of the sin offering shall he burn upon the altar. Right? Now, what the fat represents, that's a key for something. I can't remember I can't say I ever knew what the key for the fat is. But he's burning out on the altar now. And he that let go the goat for the scapegoat shall wash his clothes and bathe his flesh in water, and afterward come into the camp. Now, this scapegoat makes them unclean for some reason, because they always got to wash their clothes and stuff. And the bullock for the sin offering, and the goat for the sin offering, whose blood was brought in to make an atonement for the holy place, shall one carry forth without the camp, and they shall burn it in the fire, and they shall burn in the fire their skins and their flesh and their dung. So they're burning this whole thing up. So going to get crispy. And he that burneth them shall wash his clothes and bathe his flesh in water, and afterwards shall he come into the camp. Now, I think that's significant. All of this, every time they do something with these animals, they got to cleanse themselves. But hey, this stuff goes on behind the scene. Ain't you thankful we have, somebody doing this for us now? We ain't got to worry about a high priest someone messing it up. We got the Messiah to do it now. And this shall be a statute forever unto you, that in the 7th month, on the 10th day of the month, ye shall afflict your souls, and do no work at all, whether it be one of your own country or a stranger that sojourneth among you. All right, so now we're talking about Atonement Day. Now, he's been talking about the actions of Atonement Day up until this point, but here looks like he's in 29, he's talking about some stuff that may pertain to us back here in the material world, stuff that we got to worry about down here, but we'll see in a second. One thing I did want to point out here is that he talks about how you are to afflict your soul, but he talks about how the stranger that sojourneth amongst you, this may be somebody who's visiting with you or somebody who's staying with you or something like that. They have to do the same things you do. You can't just, say, well, I'm going to go on Atonement Day and leave your guests in the house watching, Hip Hop and Love or playing with Nintendos or whatever. No, they have to be atoning too. For on that day shall the priest make an atonement for you to cleanse you, that ye may be cleansed from all of your sins before the Lord. Okay, now, a lot of people who are waiting for the rapture are tuning into this class, right? because it's Atonement Day, and the Rapture watch dates have come around to Atonement Day. They've gone through 9/11, they've gone through 9/23, which is all of their, you know, superstitious dates, and well, they haven't gone through 9/23 yet. They'll get that one next. But Atonement Day, they're kind of paying attention a little bit because all of the holy people are saying, "Hey, Atonement Day, don't forget about watching on Atonement Day." And they're like, "Yeah, okay, man, maybe we should pay attention to Atonement Day. Give us something to do until 9/23 comes, and which is our real rapture watch date." But anyway, when you look at this, it looks like they more of them actually should be watching here, because it says, "For on that day shall the priest make an atonement for you to cleanse you, that ye may be clean from all of your sins before the Lord." Okay, now this we understand for atonement day. That's one of the necessary things, is that we're going to have a certain level of progression towards obedience to the law. And this is, so getting cleansed up is one of the things that's moving us in that direction. "And it shall be a Sabbath of rest unto you, and ye shall afflict your souls by a statute forever." Okay. And so that's giving us our instructions and what we're supposed to be doing. Now, it's a Sabbath of rest, meaning we ain't supposed to go to work. It said a few minutes ago that we're not supposed to go to work, do no work at all. Um, and so and we're supposed to afflict our souls, right? So that means like a humbling, or something that we're doing. A lot of people, you know, think of it as repenting, um, and that kind of thing. "And the priest whom he shall anoint, and whom he shall consecrate to minister in the priest's office in his father's stead, shall make the atonement, and shall put on the linen clothes, and even the holy garments." Now we're talking about the Messiah here, because you got to understand that the first priest was Aaron, and then it passed on to his sons, and his sons, Aaron's sons, kept up the priestly responsibilities until the last high priest, which was the Messiah. So that's what he's kind of saying here, until the one who is anointed comes, and that's the Messiah. He is the anointed one. "And he shall make an atonement for the holy sanctuary." Okay, the holy sanctuary. "And he shall make an atonement for the tabernacle of the congregation." This is what's getting atoned. The people, the high priest. Now we're talking about the sanctuary, the tabernacle of the congregation, the altar, and, and he shall make an atonement for the priest and for all the people of the congregation. So this is what's going on Atonement Day. This is why this is important. All of this stuff is taking place. "And this shall be an everlasting statute unto you, to make an atonement for the children of Israel for all their sins once a year." And he did as the Lord commanded Moses. All right, so this is the chapter on Atonement Day. All right, we're going to go ahead and edit this thing up and get it up there, y'all. Praise ye the Lord for his word. Hermes Academy. Power, patience, continence, and faith. We teach virtue.